Have you ever just felt a chill? That feeling like you're not alone? At night, an old shrine glows in the dark. In Thailand, people believe that guardian spirits live there. They watch over their loved ones. But what if one of those spirits was trying to tell you a secret? What if a hidden child was the key to healing a broken family? This is a true story from a quiet village in Thailand, and it all began with a whisper. Welcome to the Otherworldly Stories, where true tales meet a bit of a laugh. The village of Cool Breeze was quiet. The night sky was dark. No dogs barked. No owls hooted. It was just very still. Ben walked through the forest. It was behind his small wooden house. He loved these late-night walks. The stars gave him light. The air smelled of wet grass and pine trees. Everything felt calm. Too calm, maybe, like a silent dream. Then, a strange chill ran down Ben's back. He stopped. His boots sank a little into the soft ground. What was that smell? A sweet, warm smell, like burning wood. It wasn't just any smoke. It reminded him of someone. His heart began to beat fast. Boom, boom, boom. That smell, it was like the pipe Win used to smoke. Win, his friend who laughed too loud, who loved his friends a lot. Win, who had left this world too soon. How could his smell be here, in the middle of this forest? Ben looked around. His eyes moved through the shadows. The moonlight made long, twisted shapes on the ground. Everything was still. Nothing moved. But then, one shadow moved. It wasn't a tree or an animal. It was tall, like a man. Ben's breath stopped. His throat felt tight. Win, he whispered. His voice was very, very quiet. The shadow seemed to turn, as if it hurt him. Then, in a second, it was gone. Just gone. Ben's hands shook. Cold sweat was on his forehead. He wanted to run, but his legs felt heavy, like they were glued to the ground. Was that really Win, or was his mind playing tricks? Have you ever felt that chill, like someone is watching you? That moment when your heart says, something is not right here. Ben felt it now, stronger than ever. He tried to laugh, to shake off the fear. I'm just seeing things, he muttered. But the smell of smoke stayed there. It was heavy. It was real. He stumbled on a tree root and landed in a patch of mud. Great, he groaned. He wiped dirt off his pants. Now I'm running from ghosts and falling in mud. He knew his friends would tease him about this forever. But this wasn't a joke. Not to Ben. The forest didn't feel safe anymore. Cool Breeze was always a quiet village, but old stories were whispered on its streets. Stories about spirits walking in the forest at night, about strange lights in the trees, about voices on the wind calling out names. Ben used to laugh at those stories. Silly old tales, he would say. But tonight, they didn't seem so silly. What if the villagers were right? What if spirits really walked here? Ben's mind was full of questions. Why would Win's spirit be here? What was he trying to say? Ben remembered Win's love for this place. Win knew every path, every tree. He would sit under the big oak tree, smoking his pipe. His laughter would echo through the village. But at the end, Win changed. He seemed distant, like a shadow. Was that connected to this moment? Ben's curiosity was stronger than his fear. You know that feeling, right? When you are scared, but you can't look away. When you have to know what is hiding in the dark. That's what pushed Ben. He couldn't ignore what he saw, what he felt. The smell of smoke was still there, faint but strong. It followed him like a whisper. Ben took a deep breath. He stood still. He needed to talk to Art, Win's best friend. Art knew Win better than anyone, like a brother. If anyone could understand this, it was him. But would Art believe a story about a shadow and smoke? Would he think Ben was crazy? Ben began to walk back to the village. His steps were quicker now. The forest felt alive, like it was watching him. Cool Breeze wasn't just a quiet village anymore. It held secrets, dark and heavy, waiting to be found. Ben's heart was a mix of fear and wonder. Something was out there, hiding in the shadows. Something wanted to be found. What secret did Win carry to his grave, and why is it calling out now? Art sat alone in his small wooden house in Cool Breeze. He looked at the photos on the wall. They were full of memories. He stared at one picture, his favorite. It showed him and Win. They were laughing under the big oak tree. They were like brothers, sharing dreams, sharing secrets. But those days felt so far away now, like a dream that was gone. Win was gone, and the quiet in Art's heart was just so loud. Have you ever lost someone who felt like home? That deep ache when you know they're never coming back? Art knew that pain. It was a heavy weight he couldn't shake. He remembered their last phone call, just a few weeks ago. Win's voice had sounded strange, not happy. "I'm tired, Art," Win had said. His words were heavy with sadness. "I don't know if I can keep going like this." Art had tried to cheer him up. He told Win to come over. "Let's sit under the oak tree like old times," he had said. But Win just sighed, a sound that cut Art like a knife. The call ended. Art just stared at his phone. He thought Win would call back the next day, like always. But the next day, Win was gone. No warning, no goodbye. Just a mystery that haunted Art. How could someone so full of life just vanish? The memory pulled him down, deep into the darkness. Then Ben's story came back, like a cold wind. Ben had seen something in the forest, a shadow, a figure. He'd smelled that same wood smoke. Art's heart skipped a beat. Hope and fear mixed together. Could it be possible? Could Win still be here in Cool Breeze? Art didn't believe in ghosts, not like the old villagers did. They talked about spirits guarding the forest, protecting the living. Art used to laugh. He called it nonsense. But now, he wasn't so sure. Ben's words were stuck in his mind. A shadow that moved, a smell that shouldn't be there. What did it mean? Art's hands became fists. His mind raced with questions. He needed to know more, to understand why Win left so suddenly. Maybe there was a reason, a secret Win never shared. Maybe it was tied to that sad voice on the phone. Art grabbed his jacket. He felt a fire inside him. He had to talk to Ben, to hear everything. The forest, the shadow, the smoke, it all meant something. Cool Breeze held more than memories now. It held answers. Art stepped outside. The night air was cool on his face. The village felt different, alive with hidden truths. Win's spirit, or something else, was calling to him. He could feel it, like a whisper in the dark. What was Win trying to tell him from beyond? Could a hidden truth about Win's heart explain the shadows in the forest? The old shrine in Cool Breeze stood quiet under the setting sun. Its wooden roof looked tired. Art walked toward it. His footsteps were heavy on the gravel path. He had not been here since Win's funeral, a day that was stuck in his heart. The air felt thick, like it was holding a heavy secret. May was inside. He saw her shape in the dim light. She was Win's love, long ago, before everything changed. Art's stomach felt a little sick as he walked closer. He didn't know what he would find. Have you ever faced someone with a truth you need to know? That moment when your heart beats fast, afraid of what you will hear? Art felt that now, so nervous. He stepped into the shrine. The smell of old wood filled his nose. May turned. Her eyes were red, like she had been crying for hours. "Art," she said softly. Her voice shook a little. "We need to talk about Win." Art's throat felt tight, but he nodded. He was ready to listen. May took a deep breath. She held a small wooden charm in her hands. It was Win's. "I never told anyone," she began. Her words were a quiet whisper. "Not even Win's family. I was afraid of what they would say. I was in love with Win. I was going to have his child." Art's eyes opened wide. A child? Win had a child? He was so happy, Art. He wanted to tell everyone. But his family, they had a plan for him. They chose a different life. They said no. They told him to forget me. May's voice broke. She looked down, tears falling to the floor. It broke him, Art. He couldn't choose between his family and his son. A shiver ran down Art's back. He thought of Ben's story, the shadow in the forest, the smell of smoke. Could Win still be here, tied to this secret? Was he trying to protect his child, even from beyond? Art's heart ached with new questions, new possibilities. He looked at May. He saw her pain, her regret, and her love for Win. She was not just Win's past, she was part of his story. And Leo was Win's legacy, right there, hiding in plain sight. Art stepped closer to May. His voice was soft but strong. "We have to tell his family about Leo," he said. May nodded. Tears fell again, but her eyes held a small light of hope. "I know," she said. "I'm ready now for Win." Art felt a new feeling inside him. Hope, maybe even a purpose. This secret had broken their hearts, but maybe it could bring them back together. What was Win trying to tell them about his son? Why was Win's spirit lingering near the old shrine at night? The night of Win's funeral. It was heavy with grief. The old shrine in Cool Breeze glowed softly. Dozens of candles flickered. Villagers stood together. Their faces were sad. They whispered prayers for Win. Joe stood at the back. His hands were deep in his jacket pockets. He didn't like ceremonies, but Win was his friend, like a brother. The air smelled of incense. It mixed with the scent of old wood. Joe's heart felt tight, like a heavy rock. Have you ever stood in a crowd but felt totally alone? That moment when sadness makes the world feel so far away? Joe felt that now, lost in his thoughts of Win. The shrine was full of people, but the silence felt loud. The candles made shadows dance on the old wooden walls. Joe's eyes moved around, trying not to think about his pain. Then he saw something, a faint wisp of smoke. It wasn't the incense everyone was burning. This was different. It was sweet, like the wood smoke Win loved. Joe's breath stopped. His body felt tense. He knew that smell. It was as familiar as Win's laugh. Where was it coming from? He looked around the shrine. His eyes darted through the dim light. The villagers were praying, heads bowed. They didn't see anything strange, but Joe saw it. In the corner, near a statue of a guardian spirit, a tall, dark shape. It was standing very still, like it was watching. Joe felt his blood turn cold. His hands began to shake. He remembered the old stories of spirits that guard the village, of spirits that look after their loved ones. He took a step back, but then he heard a sound, a whisper on the wind. It was faint, very faint. "Leo," the voice said. Joe's eyes opened wide. He knew that voice. It was Win's voice. But how? How could this be? The shadow turned. It looked directly at Joe. Then, just like that, it was gone, vanished. Joe's heart was racing. He pulled his jacket tighter around him. He needed to tell Art, to share what he had just seen. Art was searching for answers too, about Win. This moment wasn't a trick. It meant something big. Joe felt it deep inside, a truth waiting to be found. You know that feeling, when something pulls you forward, when you can't ignore a call from the unknown. That's what Joe felt now. The smoke, the whisper, the shadow, they were all signs. Win wasn't gone, not completely, not yet. He was still here, tied to Cool Breeze, tied to his son. Joe's fear went away. A new feeling took its place, curiosity. He thought of Leo, the little boy with Win's bright eyes. Win's spirit was watching, protecting, maybe even guiding. Joe didn't believe in ghosts before, but he wondered now. The shrine felt alive, full of secrets. Joe took a deep breath. He still smelled the smoke. He stepped outside. The cool night air touched his face. Cool Breeze wasn't just a village anymore. It was a place of mysteries. Win's presence was here, in the shadows, in the whispers. Joe knew he couldn't keep this to himself. He had to find Art, to tell him about the shadow, the voice. Something was calling them, to find the truth. Could Win's whisper hide a truth about his son? How could Win's spirit bring a family together from beyond the grave? The sun rose slowly over Cool Breeze. The light was soft and gold. Art stood outside his house. The morning air was cool on his skin. He held a small wooden box. It was one of Win's. Inside, he found a letter. The edges were old and worn. It was in Win's messy handwriting. Art found it at the shrine. It was tucked behind a candle, waiting for him. The words were simple, but they hit him hard. "Take care of Leo," Win had written. "Make sure he knows he's loved." Art's chest felt tight. A mix of sadness and purpose filled his heart. Have you ever found a message that changes everything? That moment when you realize someone is still with you, even after they're gone. Art felt it now. It was Win's voice, speaking through the faded ink. He walked toward the village square. where May and T were waiting. They stood under the big oak tree. Its branches swayed in the gentle wind. Leo was there too, a small boy with bright eyes, just 3 years old. His smile was wide, so much like Wynn's. It made Art's heart ache. Art knelt down. He looked at Leo, and his heart felt soft. This was Wynn's son. A piece of his friend was still alive. May's hands trembled. Her eyes looked nervous. The village had gathered. Their faces showed curiosity and hope. Art took a deep breath. He held the letter tightly. He told everyone about the letter, about Wynn and May, about Leo. The village was quiet. You could hear a pin drop. Then a warmth spread through him, like sunlight breaking through clouds. This was forgiveness, messy and real. It brought them all together. You know that moment when a wound starts to heal? When love is stronger than pain and regret? That's what filled Cool Breeze now. T, Wynn's brother, spoke up. His voice was quiet but strong. "I'll take care of Leo," he said. "For May, for Wynn, for all of us." The crowd nodded. Their faces glowed with a shared purpose. Art looked at Leo. The little boy was laughing, running in circles. He saw Wynn in that laugh, in those bright, curious eyes. Wynn wasn't just a shadow or a whisper now. He was here, in his son, in this moment of healing. The village felt different now, lighter, like a burden had lifted. The stories of spirits, of shadows in the forest didn't feel so scary anymore. Maybe Wynn's spirit had been guiding them all along, not to haunt them, but to bring them to this day. Art put the letter into his pocket. His heart was full. Cool Breeze was more than a village of secrets and shadows. It was a place where love could mend what was broken. Leo ran to Art. He grabbed his hand with a small, warm grip. "Play with me," he said. His voice was full of joy. Art laughed. The sound surprised him. He lifted Leo onto his shoulders. He could feel Wynn's presence nearby. The villagers joined in. Their voices rose in the morning air. This was Wynn's gift. A family reunited, a future reborn. Cool Breeze would never be the same, and neither would they. And so, the story of Wynn and Cool Breeze came to an end, but not in a sad way. Wynn's death brought so much pain and so many questions. Shadows moved in the forest. Whispers echoed in the shrine. But his spirit, it was not trying to scare anyone. It was trying to guide them, to lead Art, to lead May, to lead his family, to a little boy named Leo. Wynn's love, his secret, brought everyone together. This mystery showed us that even after a great loss, there can be a new beginning. Wynn's love shines in Leo's smile. It reminds us all to forgive, to heal, and to love again. What do you think about Wynn's story? Did it surprise you? Have you ever felt a spirit's presence? A gentle touch, a faint whisper? Tell us in the comments. And if you're ready for more mysteries, make sure to subscribe to the Otherworldly Stories. We'll be waiting for you. And that's the end of another Otherworldly story. Please remember to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to not miss a thing. Thanks for joining us. Until next time, stay curious and keep an eye on the shadows.